All right, we got people. All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're live here on Top Secret News radio show. And welcome, everybody. We are doing this a little different today, so I hope that this all works out great. Oh, my hair's all in my way. We are doing the video platform, and a lot of people have been having some issues with all the different chat rooms, all of the different places to try to listen. People were still having issues getting in. So we're going to try this one. So like we did a test yesterday that ended up being like a 2-hour show. Go figure. But it was a interesting show, a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs for sure. All right, everybody. So tonight we have a really good show for you. I've been talking about this for a while. Everybody's been knowing. Oh, I got to open yet another. I have to get another page up. Hold on just 1 second. What is this called? Oh, Facebook. Yeah, that's it. All right. Sorry, guys. My computer's running a little slow. Renee's audio sucks, so we got all kinds of like little weird issues. So I'm trying to get through, but we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll be fine. All right, so as I was saying, a lot of people have known that I have been talking for a long time on the show about my black-eyed children experience. And many people they're always interested in it. It's been in 2 books. It's been in David Weatherly's Black-Eyed Children book, as well as Nick Redfern's Black-Eyed Women, or no, Women in Black, I'm sorry, Women in Black. And it's in both of those. And I have done lectures. I have talked to people all over the place about the black-eyed children. And interestingly enough, a few weeks ago, I guess, I was on a friend of mine's page, and I don't even remember what the post was about. It was something about like strange encounters that people had had or something. And my guest was on the thread, and I had said, oh yeah, I've definitely got an interesting story of black-eyed children. And immediately she messaged me and said, oh, like that's really interesting, and then she had said that she had a radio show, and she did a show on black-eyed children as well. So I sent her the story, and she sent me a message back. And come to find out, my guest tonight is not only a paranormal investigator and a radio show host, but she's also a graphic design artist and an artist. And she had actually just done a show on her radio show in regards to the black-eyed children, where she had actually her now boyfriend who had a experience. And so we were kind of talking, and I was comparing stories, and she was telling me how interesting that there was a lot of similarities between my story and her boyfriend's story. So we just kind of got on that. And then out of the blue, she offered to do a sketch of the actual black-eyed children and black-eyed woman that I saw. And as much as I was thrilled, I'll tell you, another side of me was kind of petrified, because I had never done this before. So like, I didn't know Madeline. I didn't know like what kind of an artist she was. Like, I didn't know anything about her. She just offered it, and I was like, sure, why not? And as we talked, I realized, first of all, we had a lot of similarities. But as we talked and I gave information, she was doing her little sketching, and she would, ask me a couple things here and there. And then at the end of about 2 hours, because we were talking a lot about everything, she pulled this sketch together. And when she turned it around and showed it to me, I wish that I could say that it was not really accurate. I know that sounds horrible, but if you realize what I went through, this is kind of like burnt into my brain. And so I could not get this picture out of my brain. And now it is actually a reality. It's come to life through this sketch. And we're not done yet. We still have more to go. Actually, I was so impressed. And as we talked more, Madeline's actually going to partner up with me, and she is going to do the sketches of the different experiences that I've had and entities I've seen for my book that's coming out. So I don't even know what to say. It's interesting, but it's so frightening. When I saw the picture at the end, it was just like, oh shit. Like that is so dead on. Like once it's colored in and all of that, like I'm afraid it's going to be even scarier. But for now, we've got that. So we're going to be discussing the Black-Eyed Children. We're going to be revealing the sketch in the first hour. And then the second hour, Madeline's going to stick around. And of course, we're going to do our strange, weird news, trending news of the paranormal and UFO communities or fields. And we're going to bring her in and get her take on some of these crazy topics that are trending right now. So as you can see, my beautiful guest is in the room with us, and that's Madeline. Madeline Kate is a graphic designer, a fine artist, a paranormal researcher, and a travel junkie. She stays overnight in abandoned asylums out of sheer curiosity. She weightlifts for fun, and she drives a Charger RT in sport mode. She isn't scared of anything. Madeline is an avid traveler and a paranormal enthusiast. She's the creator and host of the video podcast series that I was telling you about, which is called Measuring the Circle. She has investigated over 60 paranormal investigation locations, including Waverly Hills. Oh, yes. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado. Oh, yes. Great place. Area 51 outside of Las Vegas. Oh, yes. And we're planning a trip this year. Yay. And the Mayan ruins over in Mexico. So her interests have actually taken her into very deep into the study of the occult, as well as the study of human psychology and consciousness. So she has a great background. It should be a great show. And thank you so much, Madeline, for showing up tonight and joining us.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much, Christina and Renee, for having me on your show. I'm really looking forward to our talk tonight.
Oh, absolutely. So okay, so first of all, let's start a little bit about you and what kind of got you into the paranormal in general.
Well, I had that really typical story that I think a lot of people have that gets them into the paranormal. I actually grew up in a haunted house. The house that I grew up in was located in southern Illinois, not too far from St. Louis, just kind of across the river from St. Louis, Missouri. And it was always something weird going on there. We would hear footsteps upstairs. I mean, me and my parents both, often thought, is somebody like breaking in our house, because there would be noises and voices and footsteps. And I think the real turning point for me was I was on a video chat, kind of like what we're doing now. And one of my friends kept saying like, oh, I see something behind you. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're just trying to scare me. You're just trying to get a rise out of me. And I kind of ignored him. And he kept saying like, no, I really keep seeing a black shadow behind you. And so I finally looked at my screen and I could see myself in the video. And I saw this black shadow figure rush up behind me, and the computer completely died out. Like just crash out. I've never had anything like that happen before. And I was 13 years old and it scared me pretty bad. And I ended up running upstairs and just leaving all the lights on and everything and hiding under my covers. But after that, it really kind of started this new chapter in my life where I started researching and reading every book that I could get my hands on, trying to understand like, what are these things that are interacting with me and able to mess with our electronics and cause all these footsteps and objects to go missing? So after that, paranormal TV shows really were getting popular, Ghost Hunters and then Ghost Adventures. And I was just sitting watching one day and was like, why am I sitting here watching this? Why don't I actually go do it? So I ended up joining a paranormal group that was very active. And I was part of that group for almost 5 years. And like you kind of mentioned in my intro, I've been to some really crazy places across North America. And if you're planning a trip to Area 51, I would highly recommend climbing up to Tikaboo Peak, which is what I did in 2015, which is climbing up an 8,000-foot mountain so that you can actually overlook the base. Very good. I would highly recommend. So I just recently this year left that paranormal group that I was in because I really wanted to venture out and kind of do my own thing. So I started a video podcast series. It's called Measuring the Circle. And why it's called that, it's based off of a Charles Fort quote that to measure a circle, one can begin anywhere. And I think that's a great thing to relate to paranormal experiences because right now we have a lot of siloed different groups. There's people that investigate UFOs. There's the people that investigate ghosts. There's people that believe in Bigfoot. But really, when you study all of these different fringe Fortean topics, you realize there's a lot of things connecting all of them. So that's what my show is hoping to bring to people, like talking about all different types of things strange and relating them all, because there's all a common element there. So.
Oh, absolutely. I have to so agree. I mean, that's been something, one of the reasons specifically that I created this show, and that was the name, was the Paranormal Connections. And even though I've been doing it for a long time now, and I've got a very good following, I was finding that a lot of the people that were there for like the paranormal stuff were getting kind of like freaked out with me talking about alien abductions and things like that and Bigfoot. They wanted me to just talk about paranormal stuff. So then I was like, oh, okay. So then I started this show, and originally it was aliens, UFOs, and beyond. So we talked about obviously everything that it said, aliens, UFOs, and everything else. Conspiracy theories, FEMA camps, whatever you could think of that wasn't just in the ghost and spirit realm, we talked about it on that show. But over the years, the audiences have kind of integrated, and because the more that I talk about all these different topics on both shows, people are starting to realize that there are a lot of similarities, and that is something that we did not see much of in the paranormal field or the ufology field or the cryptozoology field. Everybody's very separate, and they stick to their own research in their own fields. They don't want to share information. They're not interested in going outside of those realms, and then they just kind of, it's just kind of stagnant information. I mean, when I started researching all of this other stuff, and you start, like you said, start seeing all these connections, it's like if people would just look at some of the research from some of these other, fields and these other cases, it makes you realize, like, oh, okay, so people who are in the paranormal, they're not the only ones that experience sleep paralysis. They're not the only ones that have, different kinds of experiences, as well as the same thing on the abductees. They have a lot of paranormal experiences a lot of times. So I love that. And I think that once your eyes are opened and those connections are made, it just drives you more. And so to be stuck in a group that only wants to focus on one aspect of the paranormal, I was just like, I couldn't do it. I had to go and start my solo, and you've been kind of just doing your own thing, and I love that.
Yeah, and I do want to give a good shout out to the co-host of my show. His name is Jim Pyre. He's also just very much like-minded like me, and he's been great in supporting me and researching things for the show as well. So it's definitely been good, venturing out and doing my own thing. So, and then if we want to get into this black-eyed entity type of thing, I wanted to do a show where I interviewed my boyfriend, who I think is probably going to be my lifetime partner, considering his crazy experiences. And we started talking by saying, like, oh yeah, I study extra dimensional beings, and I'm like, what? Who is this guy? So I'm like, I have to stay with this guy. So I wanted to do a show where we talked about he had a black-eyed adult encounter twice. He saw this guy twice. Yeah. And prior to hearing his story, I had heard about black-eyed kids a lot. I had also been familiar with Nick Redfern and David Weatherly's research into these topics as well. And I was aware that there were, sightings of black-eyed adults or women with black eyes and more different and unique cases. But his case was very, very strange. To give you a quick rundown of what happened. It was about 5 years ago at this point, and he was in South Elgin, Illinois, and it was in the middle of the day, and he went to the grocery store just to pick up a few things. And as he's walking down the aisles, he keeps running into this guy who has like a surfer hairdo, like long blonde hair, really lanky, skinny, very, very pale skin. And the guy just kept, every time they would pass, the guy would go, "Hey man, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, how you doing?" And my boyfriend's just like, okay, this guy's crazy or something, I don't know, just like, hey. And then eventually it gets annoying and he's just like, okay, hi, why are you still saying hi to me? And he hears this guy behind him say, "Yeah, you better turn down that aisle, you FAG." And as he's saying that, my boyfriend turns around and realizes that that guy is not actually talking at all, that his lips are not moving, and he's hearing him talk telepathically. And as he's saying those words and my boyfriend makes eye contact with him, he realizes his eyes are completely black, and he gets this expression of pure shock that he cannot believe that Steve is actually hearing him. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. And he turns around and walks away as quickly as he possibly can. And my boyfriend immediately went to go check out to get out of there. And as he was leaving, the guy was kind of like waiting by the checkout and then waved bye to him again and left. So a lot of strange stuff is going on there, in that story. And I wanted to have him on the show to talk about this experience and to talk about the history of black-eyed entities, because although this is something that's, recently gotten a lot of press time, black-eyed entities are very old. And, there's reports of things that can be dated well back, even to one of the first civilizations in Göbekli Tepe, which is now modern-day Turkey. They've uncovered statues there that have big black obsidian eyes. So there's a bunch of weird stuff with it, which I think is very fascinating. So I wanted to have a show to talk about that and talk about the history. And then I realized, I'm a fine artist. I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil, and I kind of still do a lot of art, being a graphic designer with my career. And I realized, I think that it would be really great for the show to draw, to work with my boyfriend and draw out the guy that he saw so that we can show a visual so that other people can also see what he saw. And so after I did it and after I published the show, it was kind of like a light bulb moment when I was like, wow, I think that this service could actually be very valuable to the paranormal community. And I really want to get in touch with more people that have had experiences, and hopefully they can trust in me to share their report, and then we work together so that I can provide a visual, because I think that it will definitely be of huge benefit to this community.
Absolutely. Looks. Oh, we got a little bit of. Can you guys hear the echo, or is it just me? You can hear it, Renee? Okay. Well, all right. Kelly is asking, going over these things, could you say that some of these ghosts or spirits could be interdimensional beings? And I would say absolutely. Absolutely. And obviously, I see you shaking your head too, Madeline, so I guess that you agree as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And he came in a little bit late. Renee's having audio difficulties, so he's kind of on punishment in the corner back there. So he's just going to be giving like the thumbs up. He's monitoring chat, playing. We all know he loves to play in chat. So that will hear soon. Okay.
Yeah, and
conversation, and I have put the. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you now. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. for anybody that wants to join in on the conversation tonight, you can either ask the questions in our chat room. You can also click on the link that I've put in the comments and join in on the conversation. We can bring you in live on the video to ask any questions or give any comments that you'd like. So yeah, we're doing things a little bit different. You won't get overlooked. So as long as you click that link and get in, I will bring you into the conversation. All right, well, everybody's wanting to see the sketch. Well, before we get there, because I want to, keep a little bit of, mystery to this until we get a little further in. But so what was your thoughts? Because as you know, you and I were talking about the experience, and I've talked about this stupid experience so many times, I figured like people get tired of hearing it. But it seems like every time I tell this story, somebody new is listening, and they're like so either so fascinated, or they've had their own experience, or know somebody who's had an experience. Which years ago when this happened, I really couldn't find anybody that would, or at least would admit that they had seen a black-eyed adult. Black-eyed kids, yeah, the stories were out there. But again, my story didn't really fit that because the children were of two different races. The woman that was there she was Caucasian. One of the children was obviously African American, and the other little boy was, I don't know what he was. Like he was like powder white. He had these crazy blue eyes. He had this weird bowl cut, almost white hair. And next thing I know, and I looked at the other two people, all their eyes, the girl and the lady, their eyes were brown. But as the encounter went on, everything changed. And they ended up, when I saw them the next time, their eyes were black. And something that was kind of interesting that always stuck out to me was the clothes, because it was in the summertime. It was not at nighttime where most people, are experiencing this stuff. And that's all that I could find is stuff that happened at night. Some kid knocked on the door and they had a hoodie and they were little white kids, and or they'd come up to the door to the car at night and want to ride. And people would feel very fearful. So I knew all about the black-eyed kids way before I ever had my encounter. But I think that's what was so strange, is that it didn't fit anything that I had ever heard, reports that I had heard, especially because they all had clothes on that were summer clothes. But the thing is that they were all wrinkly. The kids had shirts and shorts that were mismatched, that you obviously didn't go together. Like I really thought that maybe they were homeless. But then I thought, well, how can this be the mom of the two kids? And I thought, well, maybe it's the stepmom, or, maybe it's a foster mom, or maybe, somehow they're just all homeless together. Maybe the husband's somewhere else. And when I heard you kind of talking about your boyfriend's experience, there were some similarities, especially like it being during the day. You said that as well, like the clothes, something was with the clothes as well, Madeline?
Yeah, the clothes, they weren't tattered or torn or very mismatched like you described. They were normal clothes, but also my boyfriend says that I tried to ask him more details about the clothes, and it was a factor that he did kind of forget. I feel like he was very focused and remembered the face very well, but some of the details of the clothing kind of, went to the wayside.
Right. And the thing is with the clothes, I mean, they were normal clothes. They were shorts and, shirts and stuff like that. I mean, they weren't like torn or ripped or anything like that. It's just they were all wrinkly. It looked like, they had just been in like a bag for a long time. They were all wrinkled up, and, it was like mismatched. So they didn't even go together, weren't even the same colors. And it was just kind of weird of how it transpired. Hold on just a second. Was it your experience where your roommate Actually, again, another one of the big thing. I guess I should just go ahead and just tell the story because some people don't know it. So for the people who have like listened to the show for years and you've heard this damn story over and over and over, like go get yourself something to drink, go to the bathroom, whatever. Just listen to me for another few minutes. So I had myself, a couple of our team members, including Renee, we had went up to Redding, California, where we had a case of a man who was an abductee, and he was reporting that he was having some paranormal activity, as well as he felt that he was a targeted individual, and that possibly the government had something to do with his abduction and everything because he was in the military. And he had called me, and again, we get calls all the time from people that have experiences like that, and or claim to have experiences like that. And again, all you can do is really just listen to the story. There's usually not a whole lot of evidence to back it up. But with this man, it was a little bit different. He had medical records. He had x-rays, which showed he had an implant. They even tried to remove the implant after they saw this on his x-ray. They went in under x-ray to try to take this implant out, or whatever this foreign material was, and it literally, as soon as it would get close, it would disappear, or it would literally move further in the tissue. So they were unable to get it. So we were able to see that. He actually ended up going to a psychiatrist, and strange enough that after he started seeing the psychiatrist for a while, really strange paranormal phenomena started happening to the therapist in her home, to the point that she got so freaked out that she didn't want to see our client anymore. And so we had all these records. She wrote a letter stating all of this and the stuff that was happening to her. So we got back, we did the investigation. He did have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of paranormal activity. He was sitting there and he would say that when he talked about certain things, especially his abduction, his legs would feel like they were on fire. And so we had a temperature gauge there, a laser temp tool, and he was telling us that it was happening. And we literally looked at his feet and we could watch the temperature go up and his feet get red and swollen. And right as we watched him, as he was talking about it, it was crazy. And Renee, I mean, I know you're sitting there shaking your head, yeah, I mean, it was probably one of the weird, abduction cases we had in a long time. So that being said, we finish up and we come home. We drive back from Reading, about a 4-hour drive. We get home. I have to still make dinner. So in the place that we lived, it was like a subdivision. It was like a big circle cul-de-sac type of complex, one way in, one way out. And so I get home, and mind you, we live in this cul-de-sac, and there's like a little dead-end street that like kind of was off of the cul-de-sac, and that we were at the very back. We had a tri-story house, and it was built right up to a green belt. So we to be honest, we picked that because my roommate was very antisocial and he did not like people showing up. He did not like unwanted, people coming by. He didn't like solicitors, and he was not very nice when people would show up unannounced. So I get home and we got to go to the store so I can go get stuff for dinner. So we head out to the store, and when we come back, we drive up and we pull up into our driveway. And mind you, our house is the very end of the dead end. And as we're pulling up, we see that there are 3 people that are standing on our grass right in front of our house. And he looks at me and I look at him, and he's like, "Who the hell is that?" And I looked at him like, "How do I don't know who it is. Like, your guess is as good as mine." So he pulls up and he opens the garage door. He pulls up into the driveway, but doesn't pull into the garage. And he goes, "Well, I'm going to find out." So he gets out, and now mind you, this is, he used to be a professional, muscly guy, not afraid of anything. And he gets out and he stomps over there, and I see him standing talking to the woman, and his arms are crossed. And I'm watching him for a few minutes. I can't hear what he's saying, but I can see his mouth moving. And then all of a sudden, he just drops his hands, and he comes back, and he's he's just walking like he's in a damn trance, and he just puts his hand down and he gets in the car, he closes the door, pulls into the garage, puts the garage door down, and starts to get out of the car. And I was like, okay, so like, who was it? Like, what do they want? And he's like, just very monotone. He's like, don't worry about it. They're just looking for lost feral kittens. Lost feral kittens? Like, what the hell? First of all, like, who looks for, how do you know that they're lost? And how do you know that there's lost feral kittens in near our house? We've never seen anything like that. And he, at the end of that, like, he doesn't even wait for me to respond. He just gets out of the car, closes the car door, leaves me in the car, and walks into the house and goes downstairs into his room. So I'm just kind of sitting there like baffled, like what just happened. So, but again, my life is kind of like the Twilight Zone anyway. So I just like, okay, I get out, I go in, and in our garage, it takes us to the main, to the middle floor. So I go upstairs and he's downstairs. I hear the water running in his room, like the shower. And I thought maybe he was washing his hands or something. So I didn't think too much about it. But then it was really bothering me of what he had said. So I decided that, being the nosy investigator that I am, I decided that I needed to go check and see what was going on. So I went to the shutters, and now mind you, most people have the little mini blinds, right? So anybody's got mini blinds, you can like peek out of them, and somebody won't even be able to see you. But no, I had these big ass wooden, plantation shutters. And so you have to take the stick and push them up, and and then you've got like a gap about this big, So I'm trying to make it real slow so I can see if the people are still out there. And as I look out there, I see them. They're no longer on my grass, but they're on the side of the house, and on the cliff of the little the edge of the cliff that goes down to where the water is below. There's a stream down there, and they were standing in line. The woman was in the middle, and the two kids were on the sides of her. They were holding hands, and so I'm looking, and as soon as I look out, I got this really, really strange feeling. And almost immediately that I felt that, all of a sudden, all three of these people, the two kids and the lady, all turn to me. Now, mind you, they first turn, and they turn around and they look all at the same time in synchronicity. They look back and like lock eyes. I will tell you, I have seen and experienced some shit over the years in the paranormal and ufology, and I have never felt this kind of fear. And the thing that I looked at, I was like stuck for a minute, like frozen, and I looked, and the first thing that I could see was their eyes, and their eyes were completely black. Now, mind you, again, something at the very beginning of this, the little boy that was very milk-skinned, he had these bright, bright blue eyes. Like one of my daughters has these kind of blue eyes, but they're so uncommon. They're just so blue that they don't even look real. And so when I'm looking at him now, he doesn't have these eyes anymore. And I can't see the pupils of any of their eyes. So it scares me to death for whatever reason. I jump back, I shut the shutters, and I like literally almost fell down the stairs that go down to our downstairs. So the first thing that I'm thinking is, oh my God, I need to have a witness. So I run as fast as I can downstairs, and I start banging on my roommate's door to tell him to come up and, see what's going on. The next thing, I know I can still hear the water going. It sounds like the shower. So I go to open the door because he never locked the door. And as long as in 10 years that we lived together, he never locked the door. And his door's locked. So I'm literally banging on it. Like I probably sounded like the damn SWAT team trying to get into his room because I was pounding on this thing like you wouldn't believe, and he wouldn't come. So I run back upstairs, and I'm kind of standing in the entryway, and I'm like walking in circles, like not knowing what in the world do I do now. So I'm thinking, okay, I gotta like look and see where they're at now. So I go, and of course I try to peek out these stupid plantation shutters again, and they're not where I saw them. So I'm like, whew. And then I look to the left, and they're back on the grass where they were originally at. Now they're standing in a circle, and they're holding hands, and they're swaying back and forth, and I can see their mouths moving, but I can't hear what they're saying. And so I'm like looking at, they're trying to see what maybe they're saying, and all of a sudden they stop, and in sync they all turn again and they look dead at me as if they knew I was looking. So again, I jump back, almost fall into the closet that I had. I decide I've got to get my roommate. There's no way that anybody's going to believe this. I run down, bang on the door again. Nope, he's still not there. So I run back upstairs. And now you have to picture this in your mind like a movie, because it's funny now that I look back on it, but it sure as hell wasn't funny when I was going through it. I was literally like in a full-blown panic attack. I'm running around in circles, like talking to myself like a crazy woman. And I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Like, what are they? Who are they? What are they going to, what do they want with me? And like, I'm literally having this like angel devil conversation with me. One side is like saying like, oh my God, like don't look back out there. The other side of me is like, oh, you need to look out there. I'm like, oh no, it's too scary. The other one's like, Christina, are you kidding me? This is what you do for a living. Seriously, put your good big girl panties on and get your ass out there and find out what's going on. So I finally pep talked myself into, being brave again for some reason, although I'd never felt that scared in my life. So I grabbed the handle, count to 3, and I yanked the door open, and I step outside the door, and I said, hey, what are you doing out there? And just at that moment, they all drop their hands. The lady turns and looks directly at me, and in a very monotone voice as well, she says, nothing, we're done. And they just start to walk off. Now, again, I'm like frozen, like stuck on stupid, because my brain is trying to still wrap around what's going on, and I'm thinking, you're done? What do you mean you're done? Done with what? What the hell were you just doing, right? So I'm like, I run down the pathway to where my garage is, and I look. Now, mind you, there's only maybe a minute has elapsed. I get to the end of the garage. I turn to the left and look, and there's nobody there. So now I don't know whether I've been punked. Is this was I set up by somebody? Like, I have no idea what's going on. So I decide I'm going to find out what's going on. Now I'm not really scared. Now I'm actually kind of pissed off because I think it's, I can't figure out what's going on. So I'm like, well, I know that they can't get out of here because it's one way in, one way out. They're walking. Even if they're running, I'm going to jump in my car. I will head them off at the pass, and I'm going to see what's going on. So I run in to go grab my keys from inside the door. And as I run in the door, my roommate is all of a sudden now coming up the stairs. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm just like, ah. And afterwards, he told me I was like talking 100 miles a minute. Now, I'm Italian, so I can talk a lot. I talk very fast. But boy, oh boy, I was like in turbo speed. So he really, all he said that he got was that something about the people, there's no cats, they've got black eyes, they were chanting. And he's just like, what? And I'm like, just come on. And I just grab his arm and we run out to my car. I put him in the car and I just floor it. And so I'm going around the whole circle, and we can't find anybody. But everybody's out. All my neighbors are out, and I knew everybody that lived in the complex. So I knew she wasn't from around there. So I'm literally stopping, and people are mowing their lawns, having barbecues, and I'm asking everybody, did you see this lady and a little girl and a little boy walk through here? And they're like, no, nobody's come by here at all. Blown awareness to my roommate, and he just kind of was in a daze, like he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And then I'm mad at him, like, and why the hell didn't you say anything? Why would you believe that there was some damn lost feral kittens here? And he just kind of kept looking at me strange. And like we went back, and right, I don't know, a few minutes after that, I get a phone call from one of my team members that went on the investigation with us. And they're like, oh my God, Christina, you're not going to believe the craziest stuff just happened when I got home. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I can believe that. Something really weird happened with me. And they're like, well, tell me. I'm like, no, you tell me first, because I want to see if we're having the same kind of experience, right? Well, they were having paranormal stuff happen, but it was nothing like mine. So as soon as I say mine, like everybody, including Renee, they're like, oh my God, that's black-eyed kids. And I'm like, hold up a minute. I don't know that I want to go that far. So I start pointing out all the things of the reasons why it could not be black-eyed children and a black-eyed adult, because at that point I'd never heard of any such thing. So I actually reached out to, I swore everybody to secrecy on the team. I said, don't you say anything. I'm going to check with one of my friends, and I'm going to have him reach out to David Weatherly. You know, since he was the kind of expert at that time, he would know, right? So I give the whole information to my friend, and he doesn't call me back. Call him back a few days later, and I'm like, so what happened? And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, he said no, he didn't think it was a black-eyed kid experience because none of it fits. And I was like, oh, you know, kind of glad that they were, if I was disappointed, I didn't really know. It was just kind of another piece of the puzzle. So I was like, all right, he says that it's not black eyed kids. And so everybody's like, well, you should put a post about it on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, hell no. People think I'm crazy enough already. If I come out with this, they're really going to think I'm crazy. I left it alone. A year goes by. Renee and I and a couple of our team decide to go to a MUFON meeting. So it's the first one we had been to in a while. So we'll go pop up there. And who happens to be the guest speaker but David Weatherly? Had no idea. It's a year later. So he sees me, and the first thing he says, oh my God, Christina, like, when we get done, I got to talk to you about your black eye experience. How come you never got a hold of me? And I'm like, well, our friend said that you told me I was crazy, that this wasn't black eyed kids. And he was like, oh, no, yeah, absolutely. That fits into it. I've had a lot more. In fact, I've even had more reportings of actually black eyed adults now. He says, but you're the first, not only paranormal investigator, but the first psychic medium who had an experience like this with him. So he was like, my book's about to come out here, you know, any day, but I really would like to include your story. You know, can I get you to sign the release so I can put it in the book before it gets printed? So we did. Actually, a year later, he had asked me, did we take any readings? And of course, being an investigator, you would have thought that would have been the first thing we would have done, but none of us actually thought about that. So we didn't. And it just kind of left it at that. We went back and did a year later, we did some readings, and the areas where they stood were off the charts. Off the charts. Nowhere else, just the two locations where they stood. Very freaky. I then started having all kinds of crazy activity at my house to the point that we actually ended up moving. Could have also been, I had some haunted statues. I had a couple haunted dolls. I had a couple homemade Ouija boards that people had given us from clients. So it could have been a mixture of all that stuff. Who knows? You know, maybe it's not, you know, related to that, but it got really pretty crazy there. So let me grab the screen real quick. And for a minute, I am going to take everybody else down for just a second. You know, freaked out to, you know, actually have you like color it all in and make it more realistic, because like it's very freaky to me. I'm sure that people are looking at it and it's like, yeah, it's kind of creepy, but you know, why would that freak you out so much? Unless you've had an experience like this. Now, when your boyfriend, when you did this, was when he saw the end sketch, what was his reaction?
He was really freaked out. And he's told me a couple times that he is really still freaked out because it was like he had to relive this moment where he was very scared, and seeing the final product, he was like, oh my God, you know, it's like I'm looking at this person again and having to kind of re-experience these weird, you know, paradigm shifting feelings that I had when I saw that guy. And, you know, I actually have that sketch in the same book that I did your sketch. If you'd like, I can pull it up and show it on the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here is the black-eyed adult encounter that my boyfriend Steve Smith saw in 2011. or 2012, I suppose, 2012.
Now look at that picture of the guy that he saw, and look at the picture of, and I did, again, I got to see, the sketch of hers, of her boyfriend's black-eyed experience, and it's again, it's crazy to have it double and double effect. It something that it is so. I didn't think that she'd be able to, where it would bring these kind of emotions back around, but it definitely has. So I see that we've got some questions. Hold on, let me. Guess I'm not doing any good.
I guess I should say too that before doing the drawing with my boyfriend, I've been a fine artist my whole life, and I very much so enjoy drawing portraits and drawing people. But I have never worked with anybody to do a sketch of this nature, and I actually found that it was pretty easy, and it kind of came naturally to me. So I'm excited to see where this goes from here.
Oh my gosh, and you made it so easy for me. I mean, I just, said, okay, tweak this, tweak that. It's a little bit smaller in the eyes, a little bit bigger, the mouth, the noses. And she just made these tweaks. But again, when she turned that around and revealed it to me, I was like, I didn't really even know what to say. I was just like, it really kind of brought it all back. It really freaked me out. I didn't think that she could get it that close. Now we're going to, color in, and she's also working on one where she's going to have the full body of all of them standing on the hillside. One of the big aspects of it. So again, crazy. Let's see. Kelly's saying, I wonder what the black-eyed people want. And I really don't know. I know that when we had Nick Redfern on the other night, we kind of talked about that a little bit as well. And he's actually had some people report to him that they have come in the house, but the the person feels so freaked out that they end up, making them leave. So again, I never know what the purpose is. And again, mine was a little bit different because they didn't knock on my door. They didn't say anything to me other than the woman saying, we're done. The kids never spoke to me, never said anything. So it was kind of strange, but I started to realize as time went on, they weren't such cookie cutter experiences. A lot of people were more people were coming forward. And I think a lot of people did not come forward because, again, like, if it didn't fit into the cookie cutter, box of what black-eyed kids were supposed to be, then you can't put it in there, then you're like, okay, well, I don't want to just put it out there because it sounded crazy. Now we know that, Nick's wrote a book of Women in Black, which talks about these women with the black eyes and children. There have been these sightings all over the world, so there are different nationalities. There have even been quite a few incidences and reports where, just like I saw, they had a certain color eyes when they started, and then when the experience happened and they looked back, the eyes were completely. Now, with your boyfriend, Madeline, when he saw this black-eyed person, did they have black eyes, or did he see them change?
No, it was similar to your encounter, where he said that he did not notice that the guy's eyes were strange in any way, but the guy was kind of farther away from him. But he said, no, I don't think the guy had black eyes until he came up behind him and telepathically communicated to him. So it was like yours, where the eyes changed. And then I was going to say, too, that he saw this entity again less than a year later. It was like just a few months later. He went to a different grocery store. Watch out for grocery stores in South Elgin, Illinois, you guys, because I don't know, there's some weird stuff going on there. But he went to another grocery store, and this guy came out of the back wearing a uniform, wearing the store uniform, like he worked there, and was pushing a pallet. And he said, "Oh, hey, man, hey." And Steve was like, "Oh, my God." And he immediately rushed to, he was with his ex-girlfriend at the time, and he had told this story to his ex-girlfriend, and she was very interested. She was into the paranormal. And he went and got her and was like, "Oh my God, I just saw the guy. I saw the black-eyed adult," you know, kind of how you were saying, talking a million miles an hour, extremely excited. And it was almost paranormal in itself that she didn't care at all. She completely dismissed him, told him like, whatever, and just walked away. So he didn't investigate it further. But at that time, that guy he had normalized too. So, you know, I've heard theories that maybe these are people that are actual members of our society that have this ability to shift their eyes. So I don't know why that would be possible.
Right. You know, even when I've done the lectures, people have asked me for a long time, and I'm not the only person that they've asked this question, but they ask because some people think that these children are demonically possessed children. Other people think that they are aliens or some type of alien hybrid child. I personally have kind of in the middle. I think that they are interdimensional. The fact that they can show up and they can disappear just in the snap of a blink of an eye, snap of the fingers, is very interesting to me. So I'm not really sure, you know, if I'm right again, but it's just strange that a lot of these encounters, all of a sudden the kids are there, and then once the encounter's gone, like all of a sudden they turn and then they look back again and they're nowhere to be found. They completely disappear. Almost like what Bigfoot does. Like when people, you know, see a Bigfoot, 1 minute, you know, they're tracking it or they see it, and the next minute it's completely gone. Now, could it just know the woods better than any hunter? Sure. Could it be fast and just know how to get away? Possibly. But again, we've also never found any remains. We find footprints, different things like that, but they've never found any remains. So it makes me always wonder if these aren't interdimensional and they can just kind of come in and out portals or, you know, things like that. And maybe even they can somehow shapeshift. So they try to take on the human form and look like, you know, everybody else, but they sometimes get it kind of wrong, or they stand out. And then maybe as time goes on, maybe their actual, you know, self, that's when the eyes change or something. You know, I really don't know, but I will tell you, you know, being a psychic for my whole life and being in the paranormal, especially in the public eye for the last 15 years, I have experienced a whole lot of stuff. And as I said, I have never had something that affected me and scared me. I mean, that's the biggest point, is the fear factor of it. Like, I can go in, I've been picked up and I've been thrown across the floor and knocked out by spirits. I've had all kinds of things happen. I've had spirit try to convince me to take my life. I mean, I've just had all kinds of things. And I've never felt that kind of fear. And it's one thing that, you know, it seems like everybody, it's a common denominator, is everybody has these experiences, have this strange, weird, you know, super fearful reaction to this, even if nothing is said to them. Just the presence of them being around and noticing this causes this great panic. And well, actually, Greg is in, and hello, Greg. Greg's from the, and for all of you that listened to the show that he was on, then we're doing the paranormal evidence contest. It is finally closed. We are judging the and back on the show to give out the prizes. And one of the top prizes will be a free year of your own podcast. Not with our network, so don't get too excited. But with another network, they're offering a slot for that will be paid for the winner for 1 year. So they have all kinds of other stuff coming up. So make sure to check in with that. Now he's saying another theory I've heard is it's a side effect of people who claim to have time traveled. Interesting.
Never heard
You know,
that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've ever time traveled. If so, I don't have any memories of it, so I don't know. I do have missing time, but I think that doesn't have anything to do with it. That's something completely different. But who knows? I mean, again, none of us really know, and it is shrouded in so much mystery. But even the people who encounter this stuff don't know how to respond or explain it. Very, very interesting. It'll definitely be something that I will continue to probably research and investigate until I can finally get some answers that give me some peace of mind. Because at this point, there are theory unions, but of what happened that, you know, who knows? The black eyes are a side effect. Sorry, let me clarify. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess but who knows? I mean, again, all of these theories that could absolutely be true. There's nobody to verify it. Like, how do we, like, it's not like, I mean, I don't think I can get a black-eyed kid to come and, come on the show and explain what the hell they're doing and why they're scaring the hell out of people, little damn kids. Who knows? So, I don't know. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Hold on just a second. Mike, you're saying that you were having some problems viewing the video. You might just want to Facebook. I'm looking at it right now, and seems like everything's up and we're good. Hopefully that works. All right, let me go back. All right. Oh, damn. We are already at 10 after 7. I'm telling you, not only an hour show goes by super, super quick, but a 2-hour show goes by just as quick. It is absolutely crazy. Well, Madeline, do you have any more shows on the Black-Eyed Children experiences in the future? Are you looking to do more shows about that?
Yeah, I think that that would be something that I would like to revisit in the future. As of right now, I don't have anything lined up on our schedule for Measuring the Circle. But I definitely am going to be doing a lot more sketches, and not of just black-eyed entities. I do have 2 sketches lined up for March. I'm going to be interviewing a man who saw I don't know if I want to call it a UFO. It was some sort of metallic silver spare tire sized shape in his backyard that came down onto him and enveloped his entire head, and then he went completely out and woke up in his bed. So he's not sure exactly what happened, and neither am I. So we're going to talk about that report, and I'm going to help him sketch out what he saw. And then I also have a very interesting case that I'm also going to be interviewing in March. A man who lives in Canada saw a gigantic angel-like being, and it stood well over 10 feet tall and had huge wings and gray skin, almost reptilian-like. So he got in contact with me because I've also been doing a lot of research on the recent Mothman sightings that have been happening in Chicago that may or may not be a form of psychological experiment and hoaxing. But he got involved because he saw all of these like fake reports coming out, and he's like, hey, there are real things out here. There's no reason for people to be spreading these, fake reports. So he's working with me as well as a couple other researchers in Chicago to kind of get his story out there. So I'm looking forward to doing many more drawings. And I just launched my website, which you can find me at Madeline-Kate.com. So Madeline-Kate.com. And there's a tab on there called Unexplained, where I will be posting my drawings as well as other paranormal topics and places that I go. And if you've seen something weird and you want to, have me draw whatever you saw, I would absolutely love to talk to you. I have a contact form on there. So feel free to, reach out to me, because I'm definitely looking for more, experiencers to work with.
Absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of people who listen to my shows as well as are experiencers themselves, and some of them are authors. And so again, to have somebody who can sketch up what you've seen like this to put in a book, I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. Like again, to be able to put a face to the story is a big plus. So I am super, super excited. So for those people out there, if you've got a book that you're thinking about bringing out, or maybe you just like to have a sketch of your experience to share with your friends or put on your website or whatever it may be. And again, this isn't just the paranormal. I mean, if it's UFO sighting or something else, you can find all of Madeline's links to her website and all of her pages on the in the description, in the promo. Feel free to contact her, and she'll talk to you about prices and all of that. But again, she is amazing. And I've seen some of the things that she's done and working on, and I am just absolutely blown away and so excited to work with you. So it's going to be great.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very, very excited. So she will be back on, obviously, in the future. Hold on. Okay, so do these beings have different eye shapes besides just black? Well, I mean, all I can say is in my experience, no, I mean, all their eyes were pretty much, I mean, they had different shaped eyes. They all looked just like all three of us. Our eyes are, a little bit different. But just imagine if we went to commercial break and we came back and all you saw was like three people on here with all black eyes. You would probably, like, all that you really focus on is the fact that they are big and black, and you can absolutely not see any kind of the white around the eye. None. I mean, it's just completely black. And it almost seems as if once they're all black, they also seem to be almost opened more, where you can really tell that these are just not normal eyes for sure. So who knows? Let's see. Oops, hold on. Lots of eyewitness accounts to help put a face to exactly. Absolutely. All right. Let me pull up my thing. We are going to switch topics. You guys can keep asking questions. We'll still keep answering them. Again, if you want to join in on the conversation, let me put the link out here real quick again. And you can feel free to join in on the video conversation and ask your questions yourself. And it looks like Kelly is asking, maybe islands is, I guess they could be, but I mean, again, like they were 1 minute everybody looked fine, and 2 seconds later, when they turn back and look at me, they're all, I didn't see them like putting anything in their eyes or anything like that, putting lenses. So again, I just don't know. Hey Joe, nice to see you. She says, did the black-eyed children leave any odor behind? Not that I know of. And now, again, you have to remember, I was experiencing seeing all of this from inside of my home. I was not out there with them, like chanting and having some fun. No, 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 no. Christina was inside the house, observing. I was doing research and investigating from inside the house. And so when I went out, I basically, I didn't go anywhere on my property that they had went to even go and look and see what the hell they were doing. To be absolutely honest, after this encounter, I was not the same. I was pretty shook. I wasn't really thinking clearly. I didn't have any answers. Like, I just felt very disturbed with the whole situation.
Yeah, my boyfriend didn't report any odor either, but I definitely will ask him when I see him tonight because I did not ask that question, and that's a really good question to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, I guess it could be, but I didn't have a up close and personal contact to be able to know. And maybe I'll ask my old roommate. The thing is too is that even after all this time, like he really doesn't remember a whole lot. Like he remembers encountering, us driving up and seeing these people. He kind of remembers about the whole feral kitten thing, and but he swore to me that he was not in the shower, that he was in his room watching TV. And there's just absolutely no way that that was the case. Like, there's no way I was almost knocking the door down and he wouldn't have heard me. So obviously something happened. And again, maybe some people would say, oh, like that's not really that weird. But if you knew my roommate at the time, I've been friends with him for over 25 years. We dated like back in college. And anybody who knows him, like he he would not react that way. He probably would have kicked him off our property, and maybe not been so nice. He wouldn't have just succumbed to it, turned around and just walked in and just took some stupid answer like or looking for lost feral kittens as the truth. So, maybe I'll ask him because he had, up close and personal interaction with them. So I'll have to see if he remembers anything about that. Um, and Kelly says, no, what I'm saying is maybe they are eye lenses like they say the ET used to help fly their craft. Yeah, could be. Again, the interesting thing is, again, the fact that they changed. I very clearly, I know that I saw the color of the eyes. And the little boy's eyes, I was attracted to his first because of the blue color. But then I ended up looking at the other two, and they both clearly had brown eyes. You could see the white, you could see the brown, boy, you could see the blue, and after that, it was completely all black. So, Kelly, obviously anything is, possible, and I would love to find out these answers, too. So that's what we're gonna continue
Yeah,
to.
something that I'd love to say to that is that because I've never thought of that, but with the gray alien encounters, or even beings like the Kentucky goblins, which were 3 foot tall, grayish little beings with big black eyes, they seem to have this really, really aversion to or sensitivity to light. And the fact that both my boyfriend's experience and your experience, Christina, was during the day, a creature like that would have been in very much pain and kind of, trying to run for the shadows if they were in that bright of an environment. So
That's true. That's very true. I really hadn't thought about that too much either, but that's a great point. Um, Mike wants to know, has your roommate seen the sketch? Actually, no, we don't live together anymore. He's now married and lives in Texas. And to be absolutely honest, like he was so freaked out by me being in the paranormal, and on top of it being in ufology. Uh, I think that he he loves me to death. We will always be friends, but I think he was glad to be able to get as far away from all this craziness as he possibly could, especially when I started bringing home all the haunted items from all of the clients that, they didn't want. So I'm like, okay, I'll put them in the garage. But when once our doors started unlocking and opening themselves at 3 in the morning and stuff like that, yeah, it wasn't his cup of tea. So but I am actually going to send it. He had messaged me out of the blue the other day. He's been a dad to my daughter. He's known her whole life, and both of our daughters are the same age, and so they're very, very close. And so he's kind of her, surrogate father, so he stays in real contact with her. But he contacted me the other day, and I had told him that I was working on the sketch about this, and he was like, oh my gosh, you're still not going to leave this thing alone. Why would you even want to remember that? And I'm like, I don't know, but again, as much as it's terrifying and the whole experience was terrifying, it left me with all these unanswered questions. And again, I guess like this is what I was born to do, because the nosy side of me, or the investigator side and researcher of me, like I can't let these things go. It's like, untied ends. I have to keep figuring out what's happening until I have some answers. So I guess we will just keep going as it is. So I'm wondering if he even has memory of speaking to them. He does remember speaking to them. Again, he remembers that they had said about the feral kittens, but he really couldn't really say too much about it. He was just like, yeah, I mean, they said something about they lost some feral kittens or something like that. And now I say, but isn't that weird to you? Like, why? Like any other time, like if the Jehovah Witnesses came and tried to come preach to us, you would kick their ass, all the way down the driveway and get them out of there and tell them they're not welcome. But yet some weird three people that just show up randomly and tell you they're looking for lost feral kittens, like that was okay with you? And he's like, yeah, that is kind of strange, but I don't know. I mean, I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's the big deal. That's the big thing right there that you're not realizing, because I know you, and anybody who knows you would think that is really, really strange. So, who knows? All right, guys, we've got about 40 minutes left. We are going to go into a few of our topics tonight for our strange, weird, trending news. First, we're going to go with the first one. And so our first one is comes from the Huffington Post. And I actually saw this a couple months ago, but I thought it was interesting topic, to say the least. Let me pull it up here real quick. And so over in the UK, they have a reality show. Oh, come on, page. And two of the British athletes claim that sex ghosts are haunting the reality show. They said, well, that's one way to scare up publicity. Two British athletes starred on a reality show are claiming that a sex ghost seems to be haunting their hotel rooms. Kadena Cox, who is a retired rugby star, and Gareth Thomas, who are two of the celebrities competing on The Jump, which is a British show where famous people compete in various snow sports. So they do like a ski jump with the stars, if you will. The season's first episode had aired, but the show is scaring up more attention for what's happening in the celebrities' hotel rooms than on the show. During the episode, the 25-year-old Cox reportedly asked for a new room after allegedly being sexually violated by a ghost. Another competing celebrity, Emma Park Bowles, the Duchess of Cornwall's niece, said that on the show that Cox was penetrated. No, I'm sorry. We're saying Cox is C-O-X, but this is like, my mind is in the gutter today because showed that Cox was penetrated. Go figure. Oh my God, I need to stop already. But by some kind of paranormal entity. And the guy, who's Thomas, he concurred. He said she had a ghost going in and out of her. She had a sleep thing, he said. According to the Sun, she wishes it were in person. It was going in and out of her body. The feeling was apparently so real to her that she asked for a room change, as so did the other guy. They wanted to move to different floors. And again, this has become a big, huge thing. And actually, one of the guys brought up, these are not the only people to talk about stuff like this. We know Bobby Brown has claimed to have sex with a ghost. I actually was watching a episode of Dr. Phil today, and they had a woman on that was supposedly demonically possessed. And she had been seeing spirits. Now, interesting, paranormal experiences like this would want to go to Dr. Phil, especially since he doesn't believe any of this stuff. He doesn't even believe in psychics. So they were saying, this girl started seeing things when she was like 5. She started talking to all these spirits and telling her family about them. Then these spirits started like entering her and possessing her, where she would have these, seizures, and they would come and they found some kind of exorcist to come in, do an exorcism on her. And when they would put the holy water on her, she would scream, and literally they could see that her skin was red and burnt. They literally have to put her in the shower and wash off the holy water in order to get it to stop. Now, she's had, I think, 5 exorcisms over the years. It really got really bad as a teenager. She's now in her mid-20s. The last exorcism, I guess, was supposedly worked, but she's now having what they call, I guess I want to say it's like post-traumatic stress syndrome, but on a spiritual level. So she still has these seizures. She still has all these kind of things. And of course, he thinks she needs to go to a psychiatrist, which she's done plenty of times, hasn't helped her. You know, Madeline, what is your thoughts when people claim to have, sex with ghosts? And there's two women that are paranoid about them, that their quest is to go out and have sex with ghosts. That's their prime, their prime thing, a target of doing when they're investigating, is they want to come across a ghost that her and her friend, her paranormal friend, can have sex with them, so they can write a book. What are your thoughts?
Oh my God, what are my thoughts? I guess my question is it cheating? Like, if you're in a relationship and you have sex with a ghost, is that considered infidelity? What are the rules here, guys? This whole topic is actually, pretty well talked about. I mean, there's a lot of celebrities that have come forward, which is actually strange, because I feel like I hear more reports of celebrities having these encounters than regular people. So I'm curious, are there regular people that are having these and they're just not like wanting to talk about it? Or, is there something with Hollywood is there like Hollywood sex prostitute ghosts that go around just looking for celebrities, to put on their bucket list? I don't really know, but Anna Nicole Smith, I think, has claimed to have had sex with ghosts. Dan Aykroyd. I mean, there's been a lot of big names. So my thoughts, I guess, anything's possible.
Renee, ghost sex? Yes. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Oh, we're getting the shake of the head, like, oh, not this topic, not this topic. Really? He's just like, I'm staying out of this conversation. Michelle says,
it could very well be more of a psychic phenomenon than anything. I think that it could very well just be a manifestation within your mind, that there might not actually be a presence there. But once again, anything's possible, and I'm no expert, so I'm very curious.
Right. Well, I know that a couple years back ago, I had a good friend of mine who is out of the UK, an investigator, and he wrote a whole book about this this entity that was attacking this woman and was basically raping her. And there were witnesses to this. Like, her son came in and she was levitated, and at one point it was, raping her to the point that they had to take her to the hospital because she was bleeding. And it turned then on the son because the son tried to help his mom. So again, who knows, like that, I'll tell you, that show, like, that really freaked me out. And yeah, I know, Michelle. She said, really, Christina, cocks and penetration. Well, look, anybody who watches our shows, they should already know. You never know what, like, my mind, like, that last night we were talking about my damn, superhero comic book character that they made about me that looks like a damn, sex doll. So you never know what we'll talk about on this show. And my mind's kind of just been in the gutter the past few days. I can't help it. I don't have a filter, guys. Stop. You already know me. Oh, you guys are too much. Yep, a succubus and an incubus. That's, and again, there are a lot of reportings about, this kind of phenomena. So, who knows? You guys can give us your feedback. I mean, have you ever known anybody or had ghost sex? And if you have, I really want you to chime in and come on the video, because I really want to hear these stories. It's like ghost porn.
That could be kind of fun to draw. I mean, just gonna throw that out there.
Like, I'm gonna have you draw, like, when people always are telling me, oh, Christina, I so wish I was a psychic like you. I so wish I could see spirits all the time like you do. And I'm like, what? why? Like, no, it is. And they're like, oh, yes, I would love to be able to see things. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, so you don't understand. It's not like a light switch that you can flip on and off. And they're like, well, I know. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, so say you're taking a shower and then you get out of the shower and you've got like a whole gallery of spirits looking at you taking a shower, going to the bathroom. I said, what about if you're having sex with your partner? You look over your shoulder, and all of a sudden you've got a whole audience. It's like a supernatural porn being filmed right in there. Like, it's kind of hard for you to really get comfortable unless you're into like voyeurism or something like that. Like, I don't understand it. So stop, people. Don't be okay with what you have. Don't want things that you. Sorry, guys. You do not want to see everything. You can't turn it off. You know, I'm just like, wow. Hold on. Let me get back to. Oh Lord, see, you guys don't help me any on the show. My listeners, having everybody be able to put this, yeah, you guys don't help with my plight of trying to keep a PG-13 show. I'm gonna have to Oh my goodness. Okay, Michelle says people say they have dreams about something that's on top of them and they can't move. Now, that's true, but a lot of times people have also sleep paralysis, and they can feel that they are being held down on the bed. I go through it myself, and again, I will claim and put a disclosure, I have never had during a sleep paralysis or any other time have I been penetrated by any kind of spirit, thank God. That would be pretty creepy. Didn't know who they are. Like, that's kind of used a paranormal one-night stand. That's not very fun. But maybe for others.
There's so many accusations going on now of, sexual misconduct between people. I'm just waiting for the article.
They're learning from us.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for that article to come out on BuzzFeed about somebody trying to.
Yeah, well, see, Lynn, if it was the ghost spirit of Renee, then yeah, he would probably, since he's the videographer, he'd probably be in there trying to catch it on film. He'd be making porns on the other side. It's amazing to be able to talk. Like, he's like, oh, I got to respond to this. Let me get into chat. I can't say anything, but I'll chat. Stop trying to video us. Stop. I don't want to be probed. No probing. No being raped by the spirits, and no being probed by the aliens. And don't want either one. That is not a fun time for me. They could come drink some tequila with me, do a little twerking, things like that, but no sex. No spirit sex. Like, maybe that's like spirit cooking. No, probably total different subjects. Let me stop. Okay. All right, well, let me get on to the next damn topic. What's wrong with me? All right, so talking about possession, the Vatican is now training a whole bunch more people. Now, again, the Vatican, I grew up Catholic, and of course they always told me there's no damn such thing as spirits and demons and that are going to come get me or do anything to me, but obviously that's not truly the case. It says demonic possession have been on the rise in the recent years and show no signs of stopping, and that's very true, because not only ourself and our team, but many other investigators and teams that we've interviewed are saying the same thing, that originally, like when we started 10, 15 years ago, we rarely had any really good cases. Most of them you could figure out. Most of them they had logical explanations, nothing supernatural. Now it's completely different. So it says religious institutions around the world have been reporting an exponential increase in the amount of exorcisms performed by clergy, and many churches are failing to meet the demand due to the lack of trained exorcists. In a sign that perhaps this problem is in fact being taken seriously by global religious leaders, the Vatican itself has issued a call for increased exorcism training to combat the demonic forces reportedly running amok here on the earthly plane. Are these possessions merely a psychosocial phenomena, or are dark forces truly on the rise? What do you think, Madeline?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I actually just looked up, I found the site for the course. If you want to, if you can make it to Rome, I think it would be very interesting to be part of this program. It seems to be open to the public. It says that the course, because that's what we need, right? It's just everybody.
That's just what we need. We already got a bunch of damn demonologists that think they know what they are doing and they don't have a freaking clue. So everybody go to Rome so the Vatican can train you.
It says that this course is designed as an aid to delve into the reality of the ministry of exorcism with theoretical and practical implications. It hopes to be a support for bishops in the preparation, of priests assigned to this ministry, as well as professional laity who assist them. So it says that it's presented in Italian, but if you have a minimum of 10 people, they can also translate it to English, Spanish, or French. And it looks like it only costs 300 euros. So, I mean...
Hey, what a deal. $300, become an exorcist.
Not really all that bad. Actually, I was incorrect. I read further down. It says, in order to attend, you'll need the following. You'll need to submit an application form with necessary documents for priests or ladies only. So, good. I'm glad that I read further down and it's not just open to the public. I mean, I guess, I don't really know what to say to this because I think that a lot of possession cases are just, it's based on your belief system. These things don't happen in countries that don't have strict Catholic beliefs. Am I right in that statement?
Yeah, and actually, if you can put the link in the chat room, that would be great for that. Kelly's saying he'd like to see what that's all about. So definitely,
I just put it in there.
Thank you. Me personally, I think that over the year, like we started seeing an increase in the darker cases once the paranormal television shows started. Now, again, anybody who watches my shows knows that, we all know who I cannot stand, what show I cannot stand. Douchebag Baggins, I can't stand his show. I can't stand anything and everything he's about. Like, this is for you, dude. It just bugs me so bad that I have so many clients and so many people that have come to me, and that's where they've got their information, their training, everything from. And since he really kind of got the ball rolling on the whole provoking aspect of investigating, I can see, I mean, when you're going around and you're using these television shows as a teaching tool to train you to be an investigator, and you go around and you start cussing everything out, and again, who knows if you're going to come up against something really dark that might turn around and kick your ass. It's probably not a good idea. I've also seen a lot of people now who, although I've known people for a very long time that have used Ouija boards, and in cases well versed in using a Ouija board and how to do it correctly. But again, we see people using Ouija boards online. We see Ouija the movie. We see all these different things that come out. And so our younger generation's like, ooh, that looks like it's fun. Let's go and try this. And then they open something because, again, when people, I always say it is just a tool. It's a tool like any other tool, whether it be electronics, dowsing rods, whatever. It's a tool. But again, it does open up portals and lets things in. And that's how I got an attachment, as a teenager by using a Ouija board. So I think that with so many people that are trying to utilize all these new techniques, and everybody wants to be online, and people don't want to. Most people, if you're an investigator, you realize like paranormal investigations are pretty damn boring. Like usually not a whole lot happens. Like you really have to wait till you get back, see, talk to everybody about their personal experiences, go over all the evidence, all that kind of stuff. So it's like to get the viewers and to get paid on YouTube, they got to come up with something better. So of course they're like, oh, we'll use a Ouija board, and if we can get something dark to come through, man, we're going to get all kinds of hits, and we're going to make all kinds of money. We're going to be Facebook or YouTube famous. And I think that has added to the scenario of what we're going through at this point. And I mean, again, that's just my opinion, but that's what I've seen over the years kind of happen, and it seems to keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I think that the fear is really what sells on TV and even online shows is people, they're going to react. They have that really strong reaction. And I really think that a lot of paranormal things should not be feared in the way that TV makes it out to be. Do negative things exist? And are there things out there that can harm you? I mean, absolutely. But I think that it really goes back to this belief system where right now a lot of people have this belief system that, any growl noise that you hear on an EVP is automatically a demon. So you're putting it out there into the universe that you believe it's a demon, and therefore you might start experiencing some sort of, possession symptoms. I really believe in the power of belief.
Yeah. And, on top of that, I mean, again, you see so many people that are so interested in all the scary movies, anything that has to do with being scared. And even now, with the paranormal, like with Ghost Adventures, I mean, I've been doing this, forever, but even for the last 15 years that I've been in the public eye doing all of this, I have been searching my ass off for a real true to life possession case or a real demonic case. And I've done a lot of cases, over the years, and I have never, ever encountered one. So when I see a show that finds one every single week, it makes me like, yeah, bullshit. But again, that's what sells. If they just did a television show, just showed us investigating, people wouldn't watch because it's boring. It's boring. Unless you just like really have a case, and even if you go to a case and like there's activity, the lights are going on and off, or the cupboards are shutting, like that's not really all that scary. Like that's like, oh, that's cool. But you got to get the fear factor going in people, that they think they're going to die. That's just like what I hate when people do EVPs, and unless it's a class A EVP, like I don't want to hear it. Like, don't even send it to me. Like, I'm putting everybody on a warning because I will call your guys' asses out. I am so tired of people having these stupid recordings where it sounds like white noise, and it'll say, and it might even be somebody whispering in the room, and they're like, oh my God, it says it's going to kill us. Get out. Devil's here. Like, what the hell? Shut up. No, it does not say that. I get mad and yell at the damn TV. That's why I don't watch paranormal shows anymore, because they'll put an EVP up and it'll say, get out. And I'm like, what are you hearing? It said, how do you make that into get out or go to hell or you're going to die? Like, that is not the case. Unless I can clearly hear this. If I play this for you and then I play it for Renee and I play it for somebody else, and all the people can't, agree on what the hell it says, you should not use it. Do not try because you hear some whisper that you should use that and say, oh, it says, and it's always something horrible. Like, it can't be, like, who's to say it wasn't like somebody's grandma, saying, hi, honey, and instead, like, get out, you're going to hell. Stop, people. Stop. I will have a whole show, and I will put all your EVPs on the show and call you out one by one. Stop sending messages. Oh, well, people know. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. No problem with that. I would think, personally, that, I wouldn't do that if I was them, because I am very well known to put people on blast in a heartbeat, call them out by name, share their stuff. Like who knows? Like, if you really want that much attention, I'm happy to give it to you. But yeah, I don't know. They don't listen to me. I guess I'm not very scary, so I just keep putting people on blast. It's okay. It's all right.
I'm laughing over here at Renee. He commented, be a paranormal investigator as seen on TV. Be sure to order your paranormal kit all for $19.99. And that's not all. If you act now, you can get your very own paranormal case as you've seen on the very famous Ghost Adventures.
Oh my God. You're killing me, Renee. Funny thing about that is that, so I literally, for all the years that I've been doing radio, on both shows, I talk about that man so bad. But the reason I do it is because I know he's full of shit. And I want people to understand that this show and most of the other ones out there are scripted. It is for entertainment. I literally, when he went to, the Preston Castle and said that he was possessed, I'm telling you, it's bullshit. When you have to do 6 or 7 takes so that you get the right look to make it look good on TV, that's not real. And in fact, the room that he was in was not the person's room when she was there. The chair that was in there, they brought from another room. So again, people, stop hanging on to everything it's entertainment. Just like when you go and you watch like a scary movie or comedy, it's a movie. It's not real. So even though the paranormal phenomena is real, it doesn't mean his damn show is real. It's about as fake as all fake can be. That's all I'm going to say. But I talk about him all the time, and I happened to be I was doing an event out in Oregon, and I get an email while I'm out there, and it happened to be from the producers of Ghost Adventures. And they were reaching out to me, and they wanted to see if I had any locations where they could come out and investigate with me. And I was like, oh my God, you do no research for your show, because I would be the last person you should ever want to ask. I should have just done it so I could have talked shit, but it never would have made it to air anyway. But I could have had Renee go and videotape the whole thing while we were there in the background, and it would have been amazing footage to put out. But yeah, who knows? Don't watch those movies and take them serious, people. Don't do it. Hold on. What's Joe saying? The farm with Frank Zero tonight. Guest Matt Landman. Oh, yep. Okay, that's nice. I give him a shout out at the end. All right, let me get to the next one. Okay, I got 2. So we don't have that long, but I'm gonna have 2. Okay, so the first one is that there is a new Pokemon game being announced, and this time, wait for it, it's gonna be with ghosts. Oh my God, if Pokemon wasn't bad enough, now I can just see now all the paranormal investigators walking off the cliffs and stuff with their phones, playing the ghost game. I don't even know what to think. That was something else I talk about all the time on my show, was that stupid Pokemon game. All the people that were getting shot and killed and walking off cliffs, and it just crazy. So now they're trying to upgrade it and go after the paranormal world and get everybody involved. And they said Pokemon Go might have gotten pretty old pretty quick, but a new augmented reality game with the same capture and battle concept could actually be pretty freaking awesome, because it's a Ghostbusters game. Go figure. I'm going to say no. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I like that there are more people that are getting involved in the paranormal stuff. Renee. I just think that it's going to be, it's just going to be a total fuck show. I don't know. Oh
my God. Yep. And the worst part about it is that this is going to be huge with kids, teenagers, and paranormal investigators that are into gaming. So I guess I'll have lots of stuff to talk about on the show when I want to have a comedy about. I'll just collect all of the stories of people having their virtual reality goggles on and walking into the fire pit by falling in off the cliff and stuff like that. We'll see how that goes. Me personally, yeah, Sparky's saying bad idea, and I so agree. I so agree. I thought that Pokemon Go was like the stupidest idea that it ever came. And when it like caught on like wildfire, I couldn't believe it. Like they literally like had areas around my house and the parks in the middle of the night. And you go anywhere and you just see people with their phones, like whole families. It'd be like 11 o'clock and they got all the little kids. Everybody got a cell phone or an iPad and everybody's going around trying to capture Pokemon. What the hell? What the hell? Oh my God. Pat says thinning the herd. Could be. That could be. Pam says that would be a no. Well, I hope, Pam, that it would be a no. She's on our team, so yeah, I would hope that would be a no. I don't want to see anybody with virtual reality goggles on trying to come to an investigation and catch some Stay Puft guys or whatever that thing's called. The Stay Puft Ghostman guy from the Marshmallow guy, whatever he is. Yeah.
The
all right.
Man, the Michelin Man, not the Jiffy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That'll work too. That guy. Whatever it is. I think from Ghostbusters. Yeah. People we walking around with some proton packs on their back and doing it with the goggles on, investigating, trying to suck them up.
The other bad thing that could come from this is it's going to get more young people thinking that it's cool to go to abandoned buildings to go look for real ghosts. And it's going to get more amateur, unexperienced young people into dangerous situations, possibly. So
True. That could be the case. Absolutely. All right. So then our last one, and this one is just for you, Renee. I found this for you. And so it is.
I think I know.
Yeah. I already do. Transgender woman spends more than $40,000 to turn herself into a reptilian, a dragon to be exact, complete with the forked tongue and everything. Now, again, you have to watch this because this thing is scary. Now, Renee, if you were to shapeshift, would this be what you would look like? Because I know you have the link. Oh, well, we don't want you to talk because you got that reptilian crackle going on right now. But let me know. Maybe we could. Yeah, maybe we can set you up on a date. A reptilian? No, you're not. You're not interested. She's pretty cute for a reptilian, I guess. If you're into those kind of people. No. I'm just trying to wonder, like, what is wrong with people? I mean, again, why would you want to look like a lizard? Why would you want to look like a dragon? Why would a person want to look like a cat? What the hell is going on? Hold on. Oh, my goodness. I got ghost in my computer. They want to look like cats. They want to look like dogs. They want to look like tigers. They want to look like all these weird things. I don't understand, but splitting the tongue and getting all the tattoos, and she had the ears taken off. Definitely interesting.
I think what's the most disturbing for me is, we live in the society now where there's already enough confusion about everything, about calling people he and she and it and them, and now they're saying that this article and this reptilian individual is trying to push for understanding of transspeciesism. No. Come on, can we agree this is a mental disorder?
Well, again, like, I agree, like, whatever you want to be, you should be able to be. If you want to be a woman, you want to be. I have no problem with any of that. But again, like, I don't understand about the whole wanting to be like a reptilian. Like, it's like people wanting to be a psychic all of a sudden. Like, why do you want to be a reptilian? Do you think it's going to be like all that great? And you go from looking one way to completely changing your look to a reptilian, and then wonder why you're not, you can't get any work other than in like sideshows and tattoo parlors, and then you want to bitch and complain. Well, I mean, here we go. That's the kind of stuff that you're going to encounter when you do stuff like that. But again, with all of the negativity that goes towards so-called reptilians, why somebody of all things would want to choose to be a reptilian. Look, people, just be who you are. Just be who you are. You don't have to be something that everybody thinks, again, just like being a psychic, like it's going to be better if there's somebody else, or they have some other kind of a special talent or ability or whatever. And again, be careful of what you wish for, because now this person spent $40,000. Look, you give me $40,000, that'd be a whole lot of other things that I would want to do with it other than look like a damn reptilian. But Renee, I think I might I'm gonna have to send an email. You make a friend. Give her some tips. Give her some tips on the realistic way to look. No? No, I tried. Okay.
There's been other cases like this too. I mean, I've seen a woman that's tried to transform herself into an alien by increasing her eyes and wearing black sclera contacts and removing her ears and things. And, I mean, I'm kind of right along with you, Christina. I'm like, whatever makes you happy, go ahead. But I don't know. I just can't really agree with this. I just think it's a little too far out there.
I agree. Well, we are out of time. Let me just answer this final question, Kelly, here. The spirits you've seen, did they have shape? Did you see the whole spirit or just parts? Me personally, when I see them, I can see them fully most of the time. Even if they're not human spirits, if they're other types of entities, I visually can see them. And I see them like you and I. The only difference is that I can tell that they're not I guess human, or they're not a living, because of the fact they are more transparent when it's a human spirit. With some of the other spirits entities I've seen, they're much more solid. But again, very interesting. But we have got to go because we have Frank Zero with the farm coming up right after this. So for everybody who was here tonight, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the topic. I hope you like this new platform. Please, please, please give us some feedback in the chat room. Make sure to let us know what you think. Do you like this setup? Is it easier to access the show and interact? And make sure to share it around with everybody. And if you are on our YouTube channel, we just started the channel. Please make sure to go over there and like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Share with everybody. And I guess we're gonna be gone only for a couple days, because I'll be back on Monday night with Paranormal Connections, and then we'll be back again on Thursday for another show of Top Secret News. And hopefully Renee's Mike will be working by then, and he won't have to. I was going to give him a whiteboard with some markers, but the thumbs up and thumbs down worked out all right. But we love you, Renee. Love you, love you. I'll let you talk next week. All right, everybody. I will talk to you all next week. Have a great week, and see you then. Good night, everybody, and thank you, Renee. Bye. Hold on just a second, guys.